This is Pamela Astarte, and today I'm going to be talking about how we become our authentic self. So in our previous video, we talked about being real and telling the truth. So these are both things that come from our authentic self. You can't be real or tell the truth from a false self system. And the false self system that most of us unfortunately are still stuck in is basically our egoic structure, is our ego. The ego wants control. The ego wants us to behave in a certain way that serves it. That is not who we want to be, truly. We don't just want to go around like automatons making a lot of money and having a big house or whatever our ego says is a way to be recognized in our culture, in our society, and behave as our parents or our grandparents or whomever wanted us to be. That is not who we truly are. To become our authentic self is like peeling back the layers of an onion. We are that core. We get to be that core. If we're willing, and just as with onions, we end up crying a bit in the process, but we have to be willing to remove all of those layers of what's been imposed over the decades. In our case, none of us are young anymore, but as we grow older, and luckily for our sake, there is a wisdom piece to becoming older. Our authentic self kind of rears its head like, become your authentic self, become real. What are you doing? Why are you still acting like you're 12 years old and responding to what your mom wants? It's not who you are anymore. You get to be who you really want to be. So last time when we talked about telling the truth and being real, we asked ourselves what we really wanted. Well, that is a good gateway into starting to understand how to become our authentic self. So in this process of peeling back the layers and crying, we do have to be willing to feel our feelings and be brutally honest about what it is that we really want to feel and who we really want to be. We may not have a lot of time left, so we really want to get there, get to our core, because guess what? And this is the beauty of this process. It can be painful. I'm not going to kid you about this. As you start feeling your feelings, you're going to find yourself in some difficult places. But then, at the core of every single person I've ever worked with is this amazing, flowering feeling of deep surrender into joy and happiness. It's over and over, and I've worked with hundreds of people as a healer, and every time we've gotten through the core pain of whatever it is holding them back, and that's part of this process, working on what is holding you back, what is not allowing you to be real, they fall into this place of utter joy and amazement. And that is what we are working for. We're working to come to a place where you can be in your birthright. You can be that happy person, that joyful person that is simply, truly authentic. Real in the moment, real in all of the moments of your life, not just for half an hour, for every minute of every day. You don't need to carry the burden of judgment, of thinking you're not good enough, of thinking that people, have a right to push you around, of thinking you're not as good as your boss, your neighbor, your friend, whomever, that you'll never be skinny enough or well-dressed enough, or whatever your beliefs are. All of that is just layers of onion. Think of it as layers of onion, and some of it is frankly rotten. Just like when you pick up an old onion, sometimes it's kind of rotten. You want to get rid of all that and get down to the core, that white, pure core at the center of an onion. It's the same for you. You are that pure white center of bliss state. Doesn't that sound good? Don't you want to be there? Believe me, that's where I want to live. And I do. I can't say all of the time, but a fair amount of the time, I don't get pulled in anymore. That's taken years. I'm not going to kid you. This is a long process. But the first thing you have to do, discover what it is you really want. go through the layers. That's another layering process, because you have to get through what your ego says you should want. You should want. Not about that. It's about what you truly want. And more often than not, it's about certain feelings that you want to experience with others or even just with yourself. And that's not something you can get with money. So you want to start really looking at your wants, and then you want to turn that around. You want to find out, why can't I get this? What is impeding the process? What are the obstacles? What am I not allowing myself to feel, to see, to hear? And start repeating things back to yourself that you may have said to others that probably were not very well received. And when you hear that, you could tape yourself even and listen to that. And when you hear that, or maybe a conversation with your mother on the phone, tape that and see what you're saying. And you'd be shocked and surprised. And then you wonder why your relationship is not very good. You really want to start looking at that, because the truth is, there's only one person that you can change. You can't change your mother, can't change your husband or your wife. You can only change yourself. There is no other person you can change. And honestly, once you begin to change yourself, people around you reflect that back to you. You start to attract the people that are also honest and are also kind and generous. The people that like to be judgmental and push people around fall by the wayside. And you realize, I don't need to be friends with that person. I don't need to listen to that judgment. It's not serving me, not serving my authentic self. So these are all things that take a while. Don't think it's going to happen in a snap. But just know that at the bottom core, inside yourself, the beauty of your true self is that incredible joy place, fun place, satisfied place, happy place, where you can begin to relax and surrender to spirit. There's no other word for it. It's a spiritual experience. It's not something that is written up in most magazines. It's not something you're going to find out in the world. TV doesn't talk about it except on our station here at WTV60. This is where you find this kind of information about how do I get to joy. You're not going to find it in Marie Claire. So please listen to our podcasts, however you want to call these, and understand that we are just women giving to you knowledge that we've accumulated, that we want to share so that we can all be in a better place. I appreciate you listening today, and please think about coming back and listening to our next presentation in a few weeks, and listen to all our different podcasts. Thank you very much.